Donald Trump and Joe Biden have been traveling across the nation as the U.S. election race enters its final hours. Republican President Trump, 74, visited 5 battleground states while his 77-year-old Democratic challenger spoke at a campaign event in Pennsylvania, where the race also looks tight. Mr. Biden, a former vice president, has a healthy national lead in the latest polls ahead of Tuesday's election. But his advantage is narrower in key states which could decide the result. More than 94 million people have already cast their ballots in early voting, putting the country on course for its highest turnout in a century. Follow live updates with a day to go until voting. U.S. Election 2020. A really simple guide in the U.S. election. Voters decide state-level contests rather than an overall single national one. To be elected U.S. president, a candidate must win at least 270 votes in what's called the Electoral College. Each U.S. state gets a certain number of votes partly based on its population, and there are a total of 538 up for grabs. This system explains why it's possible for a candidate to win the most votes nationally, like Hillary Clinton did in 2016, but still lose the election. Tuesday's vote comes amid the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. The U.S. has recorded more cases and more deaths than any other country worldwide, reporting more than 81,000 new infections on Sunday alone. Top virus expert Anthony Fauci has sharply criticized the Trump administration's handling of the pandemic, drawing a rebuke from the White House on Sunday. What are the two candidates concentrating on? President Trump had a punishing schedule on Sunday, holding rallies in Iowa, Michigan, North Carolina and Georgia, and later in Florida. In Michigan, Mr. Trump boasted his leadership. The state's car manufacturing industry had been revived. The economy is now growing at the fastest rate ever recorded, he claimed. The U.S. economy saw record-breaking 33% growth in the third financial quarter of this year, following a record 31% contraction in the second. But economists warn the damage inflicted by the pandemic, the biggest decline in the U.S. economy in more than 80 years, could still take years to overcome. The economy under Trump in 6 charts. Fact-checking the closing days of the U.S. election. Trump is in the fight of his political life. At a later rally in Iowa, Mr. Trump promised secure borders and more conservative judges in the courts. Addressing COVID-19, he told supporters they had a choice between a deadly Biden lockdown or a safe vaccine that ends the pandemic.